Ezekiel 22:30. Turn your mind into a shield, how to think for yourself, prophetofwar.com. Talking about Ezekiel chapter 22 and specifically verse 30, Ezekiel talks about making a stand. Typically people think you can just stand for what you believe and everything will be okay. And if people don't want to comply, that's their own deal. Everyone can do their own thing. Now this is a nice idea in concept, but not really applicable in practice. Another way people try to deal with conflict is to force their own way onto other people. Neither of these are good choices. Let's talk about a mature and useful choice. In Ezekiel 22, God says to Ezekiel,
God asks Ezekiel, "Will you judge this city of bloodshed? Then explain to them what they are doing wrong." God then details the practices of the people. There is a conspiracy of her princes within the land. They shed blood and kill people to make unjust gain. Her priests do violence to my law and profane my holy things. They teach that there is no difference between the unclean and the clean. Her prophets whitewash these deeds for them by false visions and lying divinations. They say, "This is what the sovereign Lord says," when the Lord has not spoken. The people of the land practice extortion and commit robbery. They oppress the poor and needy and mistreat the foreigner, denying them justice.
This chapter clearly details cause and effect, and how people make choices that negatively impact them and their entire society, successfully dangling their culture over a precipice and opening their defenses for invasion. Cause and effect works like this. The moment you begin to force your opinions on someone else, you start a long contracted series of cause and effect that ultimately results in a violent conflict where lives, health, and stability will be lost. Murder, theft, deception, and emotional manipulation are forms of forcing yourself onto others. Forcing your way on someone else is not okay, but standing in the gap on behalf of the people is what God is looking for. The wall represents the defenses of the people against sheer and utter destructive chaos brought on them by the reactions of their actions. God doesn't qualify the man who stands in the gap, not holy or nobleman or well-trained. He's looking for anyone to stand in the gap. But God doesn't find anyone, and he tells Ezekiel that he will no longer hold back the tide of cause and effect. This to me is staggering when you consider how God interacts with those that don't give him a second thought. While the entire city was hell-bent on self-destruction, God was looking for an excuse to keep protecting them. This is a cry out to all the people of the land. If you have any motivation inside you whatsoever, learn how to improvise, adapt, and overcome. Stand in the gap. If you can't stand in the gap, try to defeat your compulsions of self-destructiveness and be a useful member of society. It's not simply standing, but standing for a purpose. What is the purpose of your stance? Are you simply standing for your own opinion? Are you standing for the opinions of other men that you agree with just because it seems to work for you at this time? God says stand in the gap. What is the gap? The gap is the eternal precipice, or the pit of despair, where everything begins to unravel. The gap is what keeps society from a situation of peace and security where all men can live together. It's a breach in the wall of the city. So someone needs to stand in that gap and represent something. What is that something? God says it is to provide the people with a shield. Now, you've seen in my intro video, your mind, your weapon. Your mind is your shield. The shield is a weapon. You have developed your mind since you were formed in the womb and had a conscious element activated in your brain. You've developed your mind over time based on experience and learning. It's a composite of your whole life. It responds to who you are, who you believe you are, and who you want others to believe you are. Your mind is a battlefield, a mess of unclear thoughts and the assaults from other minds. You are assassinated with distractions on a moment-by-moment basis. If someone stands in the gap for us, their mind becomes a shield for us. They are sharing information with us so that we can convert our own minds from chaotic war zones into shields. It is up to us to pay attention to them. So the man who judges the city of bloodshed, in this case Ezekiel the prophet, is not judging them because he's better. He's wanting them to be better so he can also enjoy the societal benefits. There is no self-righteousness involved here. This attitude needs to make an appearance when we talk with others. When you have discussions with people that you disagree with, don't argue violently, argue intelligently. You can still think what you want to think no matter what someone else tries to sell you. Just share information, hone each other, turn your minds from battlefields into weapons. This is not so complex, it's so simple. Yet what we have all over the world is people forming little political groups, and they refuse to listen to any other point of view, and if they do listen, it's only to ridicule. I don't know how this is helpful at all. So part one of standing in the gap is learn to communicate. You don't have to accept other opinions, but it's best for you to listen to them and make every attempt to understand and comprehend. Use the information to build your own opinions better and stronger. After you build yours better, find new ways to make them more useful. Find new ways to grow them. Keep moving forward. Change and adapt. Keep moving forward. Don't grow stagnant thinking you've already found the ultimate answer to everyone's problems, because you haven't. Learn how to learn and learn how to think. The most important advice I could give right now is to understand that you are probably wrong. That's how I start my thought processes. I'm probably wrong, and then I go from there. Why do I think the way I think? What about my life has led me to that conclusion? Does my conclusion need to adapt? It is impossible to find conclusions for every situation that can come at you in life, but you can find solid general overview conclusions that will assist you in nearly every arena of life. Begin with what you know. Enter it with, why do I know that? Then continue with, why do I actually believe it? Go forward from there. Find root elements by dissecting your thoughts. Then go find others to gain root elements from to build your own opinions better. Compare, contrast, analyze, turn your opinions into useful thoughts that other people can benefit from. And then when you have done all, stand.
Only God will ever know, only God can understand the pain in my heart for the people of this land. Only God can understand, only God will ever know the sobbing and the wailing of the prophet of war. I see you as you go, daily tasks kill your soul. I hear you as you whine about no money, no hope. I recognize you're crying as you're losing all control. You wring out tears of sorrow and the reason is old. There's an ancient enemy of the sons of all men. It's a deadly adversary of the daughters of men. You want what you shouldn't and you cry out to God. Do you even understand why we cry out to God? I hear you as you shout all your wants to the Lord. I know you live in luxury, you know you can't afford. I sense a pain inside you as you shut down your soul. I pour out floods of sobbing as your weather grows cold. It's the very power of hell that came to battle this man. It's the damned adversary of the Holy Son of Man. You kill and you thrill, you grow madder at God. Do you even understand or try to hear from God? Only God will ever know, only God can understand the pain in my heart for the people of this land. Only God can understand, only God will ever know the sobbing and the wailing of the prophet of war. Church of America, strong and proud, and we don't give a damn if the prophets come around, because we've got our doctrines, we've got our ways. Nothing on this earth is ever gonna make us change. We are rooted firm to the soil of despair. So far from truth, we grope to hide our fear. I see too much sickness and too much pain. Too many church people with worldly lives of pointless gain. Where is the power and where is the might? Where is the brightness of the light that is our life? Church of America, it won't be long, and then we'll have to pay for everything we're doing wrong, because the Father of Light is gonna shine on us, and everything we've struggled for is gonna go bust. Church of America, how quickly you fell, and now the tower of your strength is where the enemy dwells. Only God will ever know, only God can understand the pain in my heart for the people of this land. Only God can understand, only God will ever know the sobbing and the wailing of the prophet of war. Listen up. Listen. I fall down and bended knee and put my face in the ground. I cry out to my God even though I make no sound. My soul is engaged in the holy conversation. My mind is occupied and I'm gazing on his amazing graces all around and even in all I see. Everything created is full of his glory. Free myself from all oppression, depression, and the obsessions to let go of this dimension and things we think we see. I give up obsolescence and become a holy warrior, so my king receives me gladly to live eternally. Only God will ever know, only God can understand the pain in my heart for the people of this land. Only God can understand, only God will ever know the sobbing and the wailing of the prophet of war. Only God will ever know, only God can understand the pain in my heart for the people of this land. Only God can understand, only God will ever know the sobbing and the wailing of the prophet of war. Listen up. Listen up. I fall down and bended knee and put my face in the ground. I cry out to my God even though I make no sound. My soul is engaged in the holy conversation. My mind is occupied and I'm gazing on his amazing graces all around and even in all I see. Everything created is full of his glory. Free myself from all oppression, depression, and the obsessions to let go of this dimension and things we think we see. I give up obsolescence and become a holy warrior, so my king receives me gladly to live eternally.
prophetofwar.com